On board Karan Taurani from Elara Securities to talk about exactly that. Karan, hi, morning. Good to have you on ET now as always. First things first, tickets, flights, hotels, all bookings done?
Yeah, quite much for the India-Pakistan especially.
Oh my God. I'm sure the
Hopefully,
entire
I don't know.
ET
I'm
now.
still not sure. I'm still not sure, by the way. I don't know. But the bookings have been done. Ticket is still uncertain.
Okay, that's what I was wondering as to how did you manage to get that ticket? But anyway, that aside, we were just chatting with Saurabh Mukherjee as well from Marcellus, and he was talking about as to how the World Cup frenzy also gives you a light and insight into the affluent India, the aspirational India, and the consumption boom thereby, right? The premiumization theme. Everyone's willing to spend whatever it takes for tickets, for the flights, for the hotels. What, according to you, are the beneficiaries that are going to emerge from the business of cricket?
So I think from a World Cup standpoint, firstly we have to see two things are happening for the first time. One is that India is hosting this World Cup on its own. If you look at it historically, matches for the World Cup have been held across other Asian nations, so that's not happening right now. So it's only India. Second thing is there's a clash with festive, right? So I think during festive, the mood is generally upbeat to spend, right? And you would ideally spend on other things like food and jewelry and other things, but this time you're going to spend on World Cup as well because mood is kind of upbeat. So I think because of these two things, World Cup is here a significant boost as far as consumption is concerned. Also, not to forget the fact that this time around, because the World Cup is in India, the time zones are quite favorable. So you are going to see a positive impact, right from advertising revenue, for the platform Disney Plus and Hotstar to the Star TV network, which is the TV platform. You're going to see a positive impact in terms of consumption around food, beverages, alcohol industry, QSR industry, online ordering, players like Zomato. So broadly, I think there's going to be a huge positive boost in terms of consumption for all these sectors. And plus, there are a lot of people who are going to go travel for the matches, so they'll book hotels, they'll book flights. So even that will see some kind of consumption boost.
And they're willing to pay through their nose just to get a seat there at the World Cup to witness the Mania. So just to get right back then, Karan, to talking a little bit more about, the ad revenue potential, etc. What about the absolute value in terms of digital advertising? Because you're saying that's not going to be as high as TV advertising. Can you walk us through some numbers and how you're looking at the breakup between the two mediums?
So if you look at the overall advertising number that we have assumed, we believe that the World Cup potentially could fetch an ad revenue of close to 2,000 to 2,500 crores. The split here is going to be more in favor of digital because digital is going to grow at a faster pace. One of the prime reasons I told you is that the World Cup is being offered free of cost right now. So if you look at in the historically, Disney Plus, they've offered IPL behind the paywall. So there is some kind of impact on consumption once a piece of content is given on the paywall. So this is a massive piece of content. Cricket World Cup, I think it's just everybody follows it so passionately. So you're going to see huge consumption numbers on the digital platform, which is why we believe that potentially you could see around 1,000 crores of ad revenue just purely on the digital platform, which is about 60 to 70 to 80% higher as compared to the 2019 World Cup. As far as TV is concerned, I think the base is quite huge. So I think we'll not see much of growth over there because a lot of people would also want to do a catch up as per convenience. These matches are typically for around 8 hours. So you would want to watch the first half of the match when you are traveling or in transit, and the second half maybe at home. So TV that way will not see that big potential growth it has seen in the past, but nonetheless, I think 6 to 8% kind of a CAGR growth, which is almost about 15-20% higher revenue versus the last World Cup, is what TV would generate. So broadly around two and a half at 2,500 revenue on the World Cup side.
Interesting. So you have booked your stay and flight and waiting for the ticket, but for the masses like us who don't have that ticket visibility or the fact to go, we'll all be relying at watching it at home and we'll be ordering in a lot as well, right? What do you think will happen to the likes of Zomato, Jubilant, other QSR names which are likely to see an uptick in volumes this quarter?
So if you look at it this time around, historically we did some comparative study here in terms of the potential impact of World Cup on QSR chains. And generally, what has happened is that, for example, if a QSR company has reported an SSG growth of 3% for that particular World Cup year in terms of annual SSG growth rate, For the World Cup quarter specifically, the growth rates have been 3 to 4 percentage points higher, which means that typically during the World Cup, what we see during the entire month of World Cup, sales move up by close to 10 to 15%. So I think basis that the QSR companies will be a big beneficiary because of this incremental sales. The bigger delta has always been Jubilant, right? Because they've done well on delivery. They've always had the first mover advantage, the best in terms of efficiency and lead time, everything put together. But I think in the post-COVID era, things have changed significantly. I think Zomato, has kind of caught up as far as delivery is concerned. So which is why delivery is not a moat anymore for a Jubilant. There are other players like, Westlife, Sapphire, Devyani, who are also making the most of delivery because of Zomato as an aggregator. So I think this time around, you will not see pizza kind of, seeing a sharp increase in terms of consumption because people can order other food also online apart from pizza. Nonetheless, I think pizza is a category is well suited for the larger groups, but Jubilant may not see this big positive impact of the World Cup this time around because in the competitive intensity, the pizza category is also very high. We've got many other players which have scaled up very well. So there's a lot of competition for Jubilant in the pizza category itself. So I think the bigger beneficiaries this time around will be Zomato, Devyani, Sapphire, followed by Jubilant in terms of pecking order. The other set of consumption companies that we see an uptick is the alcohol space. Specifically over here, the premium beer segment, because if you look at beer, it's more on-premise led. So I think close to 30% of beer volumes is consumed on-premise. So we believe that even beer volumes could move up by close to 7 to 8% in that particular month of World Cup. And this will again primarily benefit premium beer counterparts, like Bira, AB InBev, Sad Miller, UBL also, Heineken also to a certain extent, but they don't have a larger market share in terms of premium beer. So they'll be the last in terms of pecking order here. And lastly, it will also have a huge significant impact in terms of United Spirits, their luxury portfolio, which is very heavy in terms of on-premise, the Scotch, which is bottled in India and bottled in origin. So I think that will also see a positive impact in terms of volumes.
Okay, fair enough. And, given that a few years ago, the World Cup really, when it came to the food space, belonged to Jubilant, which was one of the leading players. Now there's a lot more players within this space. In terms of individual categories as well, do you believe that there is going to be a lot, people are going to be a lot more spoiled for choice, and the likes of a Zomato and Swiggy are definitely going to be at the forefront of this?
Said, Zomato will be the biggest beneficiary, Zomato and Swiggy both. Because people are not going to just order pizzas. I think there is biryanis, fried chicken, burgers. In the pre-COVID times, what actually happened is that in terms of pure experience from a customer standpoint, pizza was a compelling product, right? But in the post-COVID era, people have got habituated. They've kind of transitioned away from just, ordering pizza and ordering other products right now from these aggregator-led platforms. So I think this is a big boost for, these platforms, and you could potentially see higher growth rates. I think growth rates for this quarter typically could be somewhere close to 4 to 5% higher for these aggregator companies.
Okay, good to have you on board. Thanks so much then, Karan, and hope you do manage to score some great seats for the Cricket Cup final between later down the line. All right, tell you what, we'll slip into a very short break then right here on the show. We'll be right back with lots more.